sells Sonax electronic products under the brands Moy, Most, and Mox. Moy is an innovative high-end product targeted to the Explorer segment, with performance being its highest brand perception. Product Most is targeted towards the savers. It's an affordable product with medium performance. Our last effective product, Mox, is targeted towards shoppers. Mox is considered to be a middle-class product to consumers. 5 different segments during the trial: explorers, shoppers, professionals, high earners, and savers. Explorers are extremely knowledgeable about sonite technology. They demand high-performance products with high processing power and large screens. They are less concerned with convenience of products such as battery life, design, or number of features. Shoppers have a very good knowledge of market brands and do extensive product comparison. They look for high quality to price ratio and average levels of performance and convenience. Professionals may use sonite products for personal and professional reasons. They look for high quality, high performance, and easy to use products. They can afford expensive products and view price as an indication of quality. High earners have high incomes, use sonite products for personal use. Buy fairly expensive products, and purchase is partially motivated by social status. They also demand performance and convenience. Savers are cautious about spending money. This is the largest segment. They are looking for cheap, low performance products with average convenience. This segment's future growth could exceed forecasts. Products initially started with 2 brands, Move and Most. However, by the 6th period, we ended with Most, Moy, and Mox. Our SPI began in period 1 at 1272 and ended the game with 950. Our beginning revenues were roughly 33 million, and we ended with 72 million. Units sold in period 1 were 297,000. In period 6, we ended the game at 434,000. For Most, the brand contribution in period 1 was 17 million. Most ended period 6 with a brand contribution at 822,000. Most started with a market share of 42% for the savers and ended with 1.8%. Brand Moy was launched in period 4, resulting in brand contribution of negative 64,000. Ended in period 6 with 2 million. We started at 20% market share for explorers and ended with 3.5%. Mox started with a brand contribution of negative 2.5 million and ended with 13 million. We started at 4% market share for shoppers and ended with 11.9%. In period 1, we earned 67% brand awareness in the saver segment and 73% in the shopper segment. We finished with Brand Most taking 65% of the savers brand awareness, and Brand Mox taking 46% of the shoppers brand awareness. For explorers, Brand Moy enjoyed 69% brand awareness from the saver segment. For market share, we started in period 1 with the savers at 42% and the shoppers at 20%. In period 6, we ended with the saver market share at 6% and the shopper segment at 36%. Our new brand Moy was launched in period 4, and we ended period 6 with 59% of the market share for explorers. Brand Moy initially began with 20%, explorers in period 4. For period 1, for explorers, we sold 207,000 units, shoppers 242,000, professionals 176,000, high earners 101,000, savers 367,000. For period 6, explorers we sold 145,000, shoppers 813,000, professionals 291,000, high earners 338,000, savers 928,000. For period 1, we produced 150,000 units for Most and 77,000 units for Move. For advertising, we spent 2.1 million for Most and 2 million for Move. Our strategy for Most was 70% savers, 30% shoppers. For Move, it was 10% explorers, 80% shoppers, 10% savers. Our commercial team for Most was 12 specialty stores, 24 to mass merchandising, and 4 online. Move was 20 specialty, 20 mass, 4 online. We also created our new product, More, to target explorers during this time. Our brand contribution for Most was 17 million, while Move was 3.8 million. Our market share for Most was 16.5% and Move 10.7%. Things that went right during this time is we created a new product to launch for the next period. Finished third in the industry with an SPI of 1272. For brand Most, we were the top selling brand in volume, with the highest unit market share at 27% for the company. Both revenues and earnings before taxes increased from 26 to 34%. Things that went wrong is we were far from the targeted section on the perceptual map. There were competitors that were a lot closer than us on the shoppers and savers targets. We sold out of our Most inventory, losing prospective sales. For period 2, we produced 65,000 units for More, 150,000 units for Most, and 77,000 units for Move. We spent 1.5 million on advertising for More, 1.9 million for Most, 2 million for Move. targeted explorers at 90%, most targeted savers at 70%, while Move targeted shoppers at 80%. Our commercial team size for More was 14 specialty stores, 0 to mass, and 5 to online. Most was 12 specialty, 24 to mass, and 4 online. Move 18 specialty, 18 mass, 4 online. Our brand contribution for Most was $9.3 million, while Move was $3.8 million, and More was a negative $1.4 million. Our market share for Most was 8.5%, Move 7.5%, More 0.3%. Things that went right during this time was Most had a positive move towards the saver segment. For brand Most, we sold 105,000 units, produced 120,000, ending an inventory of 15,000. Things that went wrong is during period 2, we failed to position our product to meet consumer targeted needs, which caused our brand More to be farthest away from the targeted explorers. We ended period 6 in 6th place due to misinterpreting the forecast. For brand More, we only sold 4,000 units while producing 52,000 and had an ending inventory of 48,000. For brand Move, we only produced 93,000 units. We sold 100% and lost prospective sales. Most remained distant from the shopper segment without any positive movement. For period 3, we borrowed $4.5 million to start 2 new R&D projects, Moy and Mox. Moy was targeted for explorers and Mox targeted shoppers. We produced 150,000 units on Most, 78,000 units on Move. We spent $2 million on advertising for Most, $1.9 million for Move. For our commercial teams for Most, it was 12 specialty, 35 mass, 4 online. Move was 25 specialty, 25 mass, 4 online. Most targeted savers at 75%, shoppers 25%, while Move targeted shoppers at 70% and savers at 20%. Our brand contribution during this time for Most was $10.3 million, while Move was $4.1 million. Our market share for Most included 8%, while Move was 6.5%. Things that went right during this time was our contribution before and after marketing slightly increased, therefore our earnings before taxes increased from 11 to 13,000. Our SPI dropped from 879 to 873. We underestimated our production needs for Most. We sold 116,000 units and had 0 at the end of the period. Therefore, we lost potential sales again. Our brand Move sold 94,000 and had 0 inventory left, also losing sales furthermore. We finished period 3 in 6th place. Our SPI was 873, while the highest SPI in the industry was 1790. For period 4, we produced for Most 140,000 units, Move 135,000, Mox 100,000, and Moy 90,000. For advertising, we spent 700,000 on Most, 1.2 million on Move, and 910,000 for Moy and Mox. Most targeted savers at 100%, Move targeted shoppers at 100%, Mox targeted shoppers at 65%, savers at 35%, Moy targeted explorers at 100%. Our commercial teams this time for Move was 17 specialty, 17 mass, 4 online. Mox was 10 specialty, 10 mass, 4 online, and Moy specialty, 17, 10 mass, and 4 online. Our brand contribution for Most during this time was $2.9 million. Move was $3.1 million. Moy was negative 64,000, and Mox was negative 2.5 million. Our market share for Most was 3.9%, Move 4.3%, Moy 2.2%, and Mox 1.2%. Things that went right during this time was Mox was our new product introduced in period 4 with a gross margin of $60. Moy was launched in period 4. It gained the highest market share of 20%, the closest two competitors at 16 and 14 respectively. For brands Most, our brand perceptions were a lot closer to saver ideal values this round. Move continues at the lowest cost among competitors also. Brand awareness for Move among shoppers is 76%, the highest as compared to competition. Things that went wrong was our sales volume decreased as the competition in the segment increased for brand Move. For brand Most, market share decreased from 22 to 12% brand awareness, also lessened from 72 to 69%. Awareness for brand Mox increased only 20%, well below our competitors. Actual sales were lower than expected. Moy's price is lower than the closest two competitors in the Explorer segment. Since explorers perceive price as an indication of equality, having the lowest price played a negative role in marketing. We started period 5 by terminating brand Move. Due to leftover inventory, we produced for Most 25,000 units, Mox 8,000, and Moy 8,000. Mox 1.6 million, and Moi 1.6 million. Most targeted savers at 100%, while Mox targeted shoppers at 100%, and Moi explorers at 100%. Our commercial team for most was 17 specialty, 17 mass, 4 online. Mox was 20 specialty, 20 mass, 4 online. Moi was 20 specialty, 4 mass, 15 online. Our brand contribution for period 5 for most was 2.2 million. Moi was negative 1.5 million, and Mox was negative 1.7 million. Our market share for most was 3.1%, Moi was 2.2%, and Mox 3.4%. Things that went right during this time was all three of our brands were closely related to the target segments of perceptual ideal values. Market share for most increased from 3.9 to 10%, and for Mox it increased from 1.2 to 13%, and Moi it increased from 2.2 to 33%. Terminating brand move allowed us to allocate our budget towards these remaining three brands, which allowed them to do well in period 6. Things that went wrong is we ended up in 6th place. Our SPI was at 544, with the highest SPI in the industry being at 3042. Our production level was too low, therefore causing our brand to lose sales. Period 6 we ramped up our production. For most we produced 100,000, Mox 250,000, and Moi 74,000. For advertising for most we spent 997,000, Mox 1.7 million, and Moi 1.7 million. Most still targeted savers at 100%, Mox shoppers 100%, and Moi explorers at 100%. Our brand contribution for period 6 was most contributing at 822,000, Moi 2 million, and Mox a staggering 13 million. Our market share during this time was most at 1.8%, Moi at 3.5%, and Mox at 11.9%. Things that went right during this time was we devastated our lowest competitor and moved to 5th place. Our SPI increased from 544 to 950. Our revenue increased from 27 million to 72 million. We were 3rd place and top selling brands in volume. Our total market share went from devastating 6% to an exuberant 14%. Things that went wrong is for Mox and Moi, we still didn't project enough inventory, and therefore it caused our company to lose sales. Some keys to success we learned during the simulation period is that correctly estimating projected unit sales and inventory is a must. Brand positioning is essential to effectively market your product. Making sure we position our new product correctly in a perceptual map is also very important. Ordering the correct reports can be key for analysis. Being more organized and thoroughly analyzing all information available. Creating the progress report helped us analyze our competition. And lastly, don't overthink it. Second chance reflections, if we could go back and do it again, in launching a new brand, we would correctly calculate the semantics elements. This would have effectively targeted our correct segment and would have drastically increased our SPI. We would also correctly calculate the production numbers needed for the next period. It would result in less leftover inventory and inventory holding costs and lost sales. It would also increase our net margin. We would terminate brand move earlier on. This would allow us to redirect our funds to the strongest performing brand, and we would also become more effective in positioning our other brands because we would have additional funds for more advertising and sales. We would use the formula to more accurately project unit sales. We constantly struggled throughout the process to establish the correct levels of production based on projected sales. This would have resulted in a high SPI and revenue. We would have ordered the conjoined analysis report to accurately predict price elasticity. This would have allowed us to more adequately predict our prices to be more competitive. It would have given our company a competitive edge in relation to price. And we would have ordered the market forecast report. This would have allowed us to accurately determine the segment's needs in the next period. This would also allow us to maximize our sales. In conclusion, we learned how the 4 P's of marketing are essential to the success in current and future brands. If your product isn't marketed correctly, it will make no difference how innovative or cutting edge it might be. Effective targeting of these segments also has to take place for a successful launch, as we found out. Furthermore, we also found that even if the correct steps are taken for marketing the product, there's always a chance the competition might have executed theirs more effectively. We learned how many valuable lessons during our campaign. If the game were to continue, we're confident